Hello, everyone, and welcome to preseason coverage with me. Nadeshot's over here. He's our first guest. Of course, this interview brought to you by Alienware. And if you're wondering where we're at, this is the Caffeine Studio in Los Angeles. We're on the U.GG channel. If you're watching the VOD, you missed it live, but it's okay because you get to watch this now. How's it going, Nadeshot?
I'm doing really well, man. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah.
My first interview, besides the one that we did for the Heist yesterday, regarding LCS and like esports of 2019. So I'm stoked.
Well, and the Heist one's not out yet, so we could just pretend this is your first one.
Yeah, I mean, we could pretend. I'm okay with that.
Okay, good. Glad. How have things been during the off-season for you?
Dude, the off-season was quick. I mean, when we started hammering out what our roster might look like, I just was thinking to myself, I can't believe we have to wait 2 months to watch these guys play on stage. And then all of a sudden, snap of a finger, we're here. I mean, the team's in the house. They're practicing every day. I think our academy team, their first match is against TSM this Thursday. LCK started last night, so it's like, holy cow. The offseason just went by incredibly fast. It was a nice break, honestly. It was good to have the weekends back for a little bit, but I'm excited to get back to the studios and watch the matches.
And before we get into the league stuff, I do want to talk to you about stuff you kind of announced. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, but it wasn't just league that was happening for you during the offseason. You were actually building and working on another project, a content creator house.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. A content house has been something that has been in the pipeline for like this last year. For me, one thing that I learned after moving to LA, previously before I came out here, I was living in a house with Optic Gaming, and I lived there for about 3 years, and it was one of the best opportunities for me as an individual to collaborate with other people, but also to just learn a lot about myself. And I feel like there is a ton of opportunity for creators that live locally in LA that are passionate about what they're doing and collaborating with others. I think that is one of the most important parts of content creation in like this digital age. And so for 100 Thieves, like we really believe not only esports, but apparel and everything else that we do, they all funnel into each other. So it's like if we can have a bunch of people that are stoked about content creators living in this house, then at some point they're probably going to want to know more about 100 Thieves and esports and the apparel that we're selling and all these other things that we're doing. So it's just this really, really awesome experience that I'm excited to start with. Valkyrie, who is one of the best and brightest in the industry, I think, from a streaming perspective. She's super motivated. We're going to bring on 2 more creators in the house, and then we are building out our production team. We're doing a phenomenal job of that as well. So I'm just excited. We're going to have a lot more pieces to play with, a lot more toys in the toy box to really pull these levers and create some more for everybody else to consume.
Do you live in the content creator house?
I do live in the house.
Okay. So are you part of the content creator team?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I very much consider myself to still be a content creator.
Okay.
You know, like when I do upload to YouTube, my videos still do pretty well. And I think now that, I mean, last year was like a very much like a foundational year. Like a lot of building blocks had to be put in place for us to have like the infrastructure for me to have more free time to create content. But it was great for me as an individual because I got to learn a lot more about the business side that I haven't really had a ton of exposure to in the past. But now, like, you know, we have a partnerships team, we have our production team, we have our business development team, we have our marketing team. And so a lot of the time that I was spending last year, I won't be as jammed-packed throughout my day, and so I can get back to streaming and making more videos.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about last year. So last year was your first year in the LCS, and things seemed to go pretty well. You made it to Worlds, which is pretty phenomenal for a first-time franchise.
Can't complain.
Yeah.
No, I was stoked.
So what, kind of looking back on 2018, what were some of the lessons that you learned from that year that you want to carry into this year on the league side?
I would think the number one thing for that we learned from last year is communication. You know, I think we put together a really great program in our first year. We supported the players as best as we could, but we had a couple bumps in the road with roster changes, and the one thing that we didn't do so well that was really on me was communication. And I think that's the number one thing that I'm most focused on for the organization from top down is just transparency with the community and making sure that we're not like sweeping things. I don't want to use that now. I was going to say sweeping things under the rug, but that really wasn't what we were doing in my mind. Either way, we got to communicate more.
Yeah.
We got to be honest and candid with the decisions that we make, and I think that's the number one thing that we're focused on. But other than that, yeah, last year was a tremendous growth opportunity for us, and I think we hit all the right beats at the right time, and we learned a lot about what we can do better and what we didn't do so well. So it's gonna be a fun 2019.
Yeah. So then you had to take sort of the 2018 lessons into the off season. and not just on the communication front, but you also had to figure out like what you wanted to do with the roster and with the team after everything you'd experienced in 2018. Maybe you can take me through like, okay, so you guys lose at Worlds, and now you got to get ready for 2019, and all this time passes. So what was that like? What were kind of the first moments of off-season for you?
The first off-season moments, I think making sure that our players were aware of the situation that was playing out. I think our GM, Jackson Dahl, he works on business development, knows League of Legends really well. He did a great job of, we had like a big board, and we laid out all the players that we were interested in, and we started talking to other teams and really trying to figure out what the strategy might be for this team. I think we really wanted to make a change at AD Carry. I think Cody Sun did a phenomenal job for what he gave us last year, but we really felt like there was an opportunity to go and get someone that was just like a killer. And so we were definitely looking to import from Korea at that point. And I don't think that, from what we knew, there weren't a ton of teams that were going after Korean ADCs. So we thought we had a really great opportunity to go grab somebody like Bang or somebody like Prey. And so I think that was a really, really important for us. And then obviously mid lane. Ryu, I think he was losing. I mean, in his career, like even when we signed him, I think that there had been motivation issues. Like he still really wanted to be a part of the LCS, but I don't think playing was his passion as much as it used to be. And so we thought it was a tremendous opportunity to throw him into a coaching role, just because the one thing that I truly believe is I think players respect coaches who have competed at the highest level at some point in time or another. I know for me, like when I was playing, if I had somebody who had never competed at that level, it would be hard for me to really buy it or trust what they're saying. So we thought Ryu, especially with bringing in somebody like Bang and Someday, who can make them feel more comfortable in America, because these players get homesick really easily. That was sort of the mindset with Ryu. And then mid lane, we really believe that Afremu and Huhi worked together really, really well in the past, and so Huhi was definitely one of our bigger targets. And so, that was really the mindset from the start. Lay out all the players that we have opportunities to talk with and figure out mid lane AD carry.
Yeah. Was Afro at all involved in the decision to bring Huhi in? Was that like a conversation you guys had with him?
That's a great question. I think we communicated quite a bit. I would say most of my communication came when we were like under the gun when free agency was right about to start. Jackson and I and John and a couple other guys from 100Thieves, we were in the offices until like wee hours of the morning every night to make sure that we can get on the phone with Korea. And it was funny. We actually had Huhi and Afremu and me and Jackson all on a phone call with Bang so that they could get to know him and really have some input on the roster. And so I would imagine that there was communication between Afremu and Huhi. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know, just because I wasn't that involved with signing Huhi.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that they were talking. I know that Huhi was really excited about the chance to talk with 100Thieves, and Zach and him are really, really close. So I think there was a ton of communication in the offseason between them.
And I didn't know if like Huhi, and I don't know how much Jackson, who's off camera right now, you referenced him earlier, might know about this too, but I didn't know if Huhi was like, if Afremu was going to you guys being like, okay, look, I hear we're going to have like a mid lane position open up. We got to bring my boy Jay in. Like that just feels like something that I could see happening. So
did that happen? No,
Okay.
but we really valued his opinion.
Okay, great. I like this. He could just feed you a line every now and then.
Well, hopefully I won't need too many.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think for us, we definitely want the players' input. It was, I think that's one interesting aspect of esports is like a lot of organizations that I see have like a ton of like traditional GMs, but from the community that I come from, it's the players that all make the decisions, because I feel like players know really well like what would fit and what wouldn't. So we always really value player input. I think that's like the most valuable feedback to me when it comes to like making changes is what do the players think.
Yeah.
And some players have more opinions than others. Like Someday, for instance, we ask him, who do you want? You want Bang or Praise? And he replies, I don't care. Either one. And I'm just like, okay, let's go and get him.
Great, yeah. With Bang, kind of going back to him, what are your plans to help him like integrate into North America for the first time? Because I talked to him a little bit at All Stars. He made a commitment to me that in 6 months he'd be able to do an English interview with me, which sounds great, but
dude, I think he can. Bang can do an English interview with you right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did not realize how great his English actually was, and I think from the Korean culture or my exposure to it is that they are very shy about how talented they actually are at speaking like English in general. Bang is fantastic, man. I love him to death. Like, he's such a great kid. He's got a great sense of humor. He's down to just like hang out and kick it with you, and he speaks really, really well. I think he's just a little self-conscious about it, but he understands pretty much everything that you say, and sometimes he has a tougher time articulating what he wants to say. But you can see the wheels are spinning, and he knows there's a word for it. He's just trying to grasp it. He's fantastic, and so we have him working with Sophie, who has like a PhD in like, I don't want to say linguistics. Is that the right word? Yeah, it is the right word. She is incredibly talented, and she's been working with Ryu and Someday in the last year, and I think she works with a bunch of other teams.
Yeah,
like,
a bunch of the LCS.
She had to put out a tweet like, "Listen, I don't have room for any more clients," and she's fantastic. Whenever I see her, she's got a smile on her face. She comes to the LCS. But yeah, we're working on we're helping Bang get a green card. We're getting him adjusted in LA, got him comfortable in the house. One thing he told me last night is that he needs more blankets, so I'm going to go on Amazon today and order those up.
Nice.
But I think I think he really, really loves it. I think he loves it.
Yeah. How do you feel these new players are going to help sort of fit the 100 Thieves brand? Because what's interesting to me is that it feels like when you guys are looking to build the rosters out, it feels like you do a really good job of finding not just influencers, but also players that really kind of hone in on the 100 Thieves brand. Quite frankly, I still don't even entirely know what the 100 Thieves brand is if you ask me to describe it. But whenever I see, like, for instance, the people that you're picking up for the Content Creator House, I'm like, that is like the perfect 100 Thieves fit somehow. So I'm just kind of curious how that works on the player side. Like, do you guys take that into account, and do you see these guys fitting into the brand the same way that the content creators do?
Well, it's funny. I think you and I had a similar question in like our first interview last year. It's like, what is the I was asked this question a lot, like, what does the 100 Thieves brand mean? Look, there's a lot of things I can say about what 100 Thieves stands for and what we are, but in my opinion, it's like our legacy is going to be built by the players that are part of our team, and the culture that we build is going to be largely dependent on who's a part of the team and how we can help them and all the things that we do together. And so I think our brand is really what we're creating now. You know, it's like we've only been around for a year. We still have a long way to go. This is a team that I want to be around for the next decade or however long that I see it. So trust me, like, all the employees that are working at 100 Thieves, all the players that we have underneath our organization, they are all like building our brand identity as we go. But I will tell you what, Huhi is an incredible fit. The first time I met Huhi, he rolled up in like Louis Vuitton shoes. He had like an off-white satchel, and he had like a Balenciaga belt. I mean, I could not believe it. And so it's like, this guy's got better style than me. And so I just couldn't wait. I just want to shake his hand and just talk to him right there. Like, and he is like a ball of sunshine. He's always got a smile on his face. He loves 100 Thieves. He loves like the apparel that we create. And so I don't think, I mean, we definitely look for players that would be like a good culture fit. And it's like Huhi specifically, with his past relationship with Zach, I think was something that we took into account. Like, there were other mid laners that were on the table that are really, really talented, but we really felt like Huhi would have been a better fit just because of like the pieces that we had already put together. So I think it's tougher for esports when you're building rosters to really look for like those brand and culture fits. But when you have like a low hanging fruit, like, or opportunity where there's past relationships, that's something that we definitely think about. But you know, for me, it's like talent trumps all. So it's like one thing to want to like build 100 Thieves in a certain light, but it's another thing to go and win. So it's trying to find that balance.
Yeah. What's funny about the story you just told me, I feel like I've known Huhi for a long time, and maybe it's because I mostly see him at esports events, but I don't usually see him wearing Balenciaga or anything like that. So I like the idea. I'm sure this isn't the case. The theoretical idea that he's like 100 Thieves and he's like, I got to go do a shopping trip, and like goes and buys all these things so that the first time he meets you, he's like, we're ready. You know?
I don't think so, man. Like, cause he was rocking that fit better than most people I see. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. I know that he was talking about he needs to buy some more sneakers now because I want to show him my collection. He said he felt a little intimidated. I'm like, no. Yeah. Just come over, hang out, and you'll see.
Brodin tells me there's a term called dripping. Was he drip?
Drip.
Bro. Was he dripping?
The drip was on 100 million.
Okay, good.
The drip was on 100 million.
All right, good. I will try to remember that line, and I will use it at some point in time when I see somebody wearing streetwear.
Dang, yeah.
Speaking of apparel, You guys, you were teasing me a little bit before the interview.
Yep.
You guys have a jersey that you're announcing
Yeah.
soon. And I know it's funny. I don't think I would have ever asked any other team owner this question, but for some reason, like, there's no way to talk to 100 Thieves without talking about apparel.
Hey.
So what do you want to? Do you want to tease anything about that? I'm sure it's coming out at some. Is it today that you guys?
Yeah. I mean, the jerseys. I mean, depending on when you see this, if you're watching it live or on VOD, the jersey has been unveiled.
Yeah.
The jersey that we created this year is like completely polar opposite of what we did last year. You know, we wanted to do something different in year one, and I felt like the traditional like sports, paying homage to that with like the baseball button up and the pinstripes. I thought it looked really dope. You never seen anything like it in esports. Whereas this jersey that we're unveiling is kind of it's now more about the fit than anything. Like it's really comfortable. We decided to move away from like an all black primary color, and we went to all white. I think it's a little bit warmer, a little bit more inviting. And I think it's going to help us differentiate from all the other teams in LCS because like whenever we were on stage with Clutch Gaming last year, it's like, oh, we're black and red, they're black and red, and there just wasn't much difference. And I think this is going to be something that's like captivating when you see it. And so it's a really ambitious design. It's not just like one like color tone. We have a lot of like artwork on the sleeves, and there's like a faint snakeskin print that goes up and down. And it's like traditionally in esports you would see like paintball jerseys, you know, a very, very thin material, whereas this is like reverse engineered of like a like LAFC soccer kit that you would see the players wearing. So I'm really, really excited not only about like the pattern and the design from a conceptual standpoint, but the quality and fit that the players will actually have. The jersey that you'll see on stage in LCS is actually a little different from like the concrete 2019 100 Thieves LCS jersey. But that's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you about that because this is the first year that Riot has like an official partnership around jerseys and sort of like a standard for what a lot of the teams are doing. They're all kind of from the same. How do you navigate that as a brand that is so dedicated towards merch, like being told like, oh, actually this is the jersey style that we need to have your players in?
Yeah, I mean, frankly, like, and candidly, it was a little jarring at first, you know, because for us, our identity is built through like the clothing that we're wearing, and we're trying to share with our consumers and our fans and stuff, and so that was like a tougher pill to swallow. It's like I got to put on multiple hats. It's like, yes, I want 100 Thieves as a brand to be really cool and super successful, but then I got to put on the other hat as like an owner, like a part of the LCS. This is like a team and a league deal that is really, really good for the business, and so it's like there's a lot of emotions that were mixed in that moment when we found out that we wouldn't have as much control. But the company We Are Nations, they've done a pretty good job of being helpful when we're going back and forth with samples. I think they probably wanted to kill us after the first couple weeks because we wanted like 6 or 7 like different iterations of the jersey sample, just because it was so important for us to make sure that we were really happy with it. And on top of that, it's like we have like this long sleeve design with a lot of different patterns. Then we had to go with short sleeve, which is a little bit more basic. And so we're going to be, offering 2 different jerseys throughout the year. We'll have like the official LCS jersey with 100 Thieves, and then we'll have like the official LCS Riot jersey with We Are Nation. So it's good. It's good for many different reasons, but I think we struck a middle ground.
Were there a lot of constraints on the jersey that you guys were able to make with them? It sounds like you couldn't do long sleeves, right? If you wanted to do long sleeves.
Yeah, we couldn't do long sleeves. There were a couple constraints on like the patterns that they could actually print on the jersey, I think itself too. Again, they did a pretty good job of working with us to make sure that we were happy. Jackson, again, it's funny, he's probably more involved with that than I was. I mean, this guy was emailing them every single day, and so they probably hate him. They probably don't hate me.
Okay.
But
maybe they hate all of you.
Yeah, I guess it was more just we really wanted to push the boundaries of what design would look like on stage, and we just didn't have as much real estate to play with. So it was challenging, but I think we found the right fit.
Yeah. Well, going even more broad than just the partnership on the jersey side, what do you think of where LCS is at this year as sort of a entity, and what are you looking to see in terms of change within the LCS over the course of this year? Like any kind of upgrades or anything that you'd like to see out of the league?
The LCS, I think, is in a really good place for the sole reason that it is still the most watched esport in the entire world. Like that is one thing that is unavoidable statistically. It is a fact that the LCS is growing. More players are playing the game year over year, and that's really exciting for me, who's very new to League of Legends. I think the LCS as a business, they are doing a pretty good job this year with the steps that they're taking to really build out like an actual like business development team. Chris Greeley and Chopper do a tremendous job in running the logistics and building the league and taking it from where it was to where it is now. They've done a phenomenal job. I love those guys to death, and I think Riot understands that they do need to play catch up in a sense. I think the partnerships that they're working on is becoming a lot more interesting to me than they were last year. I think they were just trying to get their feet underneath them with franchising, and there was a lot of moving parts. And they've had enough time over this last year to really start planning and organizing what the 2019 and 2020 and 2021 season look like. And so they're invested in the long term. And so it's like I know that there was sort of a sentiment that they were lagging behind, but I think it's important to really realize that this is a long-term investment. It's like we paid $10 million. Like we're partners for life. And so we have to be patient and really support Riot as best as we can by, supporting our players, supporting our teams, growing our brands. And I definitely think that they'll catch up and make the LCS one of the most successful leagues in the world.
Yeah. There was a owner meeting in December where everybody was able to come together and talk to Riot. How did that go? Is everything positive on those ends, or?
Yeah, it went really well. The CEO of Riot Games came out and he talked and had like an open floor Q&A. And really reinforced their plans and their sentiment when it came to what esports means to Riot Games and what the LCS is going to look like in the future. That was when they finally unveiled that we would be dropping NA and just going to LCS, which I was really, really happy about. I really like the new branding, and I think it really differentiates us from all the other regions, which is a good thing. But I was pleasantly surprised with how equipped they came to really answer all of the the burning questions that the owners had, because I know for a fact there was a little tension in the room at the beginning, because you have a lot of owners coming from traditional sports where it's like Clutch Gaming and the Golden Guardians and Optic with Neil and MLB, and even us with like Dan Gilbert. It's like they've had so much experience in traditional sports, and the NBA has done a tremendous job of growing their business over the last like 10, 20, 30 years. And so they had a lot of hard-hitting questions, I think, for the Riot Games team. But they took it on the chin, ran with it, and made sure that we were excited for the next couple years.
Yeah. Do you think there was a sense of dissatisfaction with any of the team owners after the first year, like heading into that meeting?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a pretty honest, straight shooter, I would like to think. And so, yeah, there was definitely some dissatisfaction. I mean, that's like unavoidable. I don't like to make comparisons, but I will make one, and hopefully people at Riot don't want to kill me for this. But it's like,
I just saw sweat drip down from
injections. It is what it is, man. I'm my own man.
Yeah.
Like Overwatch and Blizzard, they've done a phenomenal job in their partnerships team and really going out and getting some big name sponsors for the league in their first year. Now, our team's like making a ton of money. I don't know. But that I think that was one of like the biggest questions. Like, okay, we got to catch up on partnerships and really sell this league and start monetizing it as best as we can. And I think Riot understands that. They have a plan in place. They're building out a great team, and I think it's gonna be a fantastic couple of years.
Yeah.
And again, like the one thing to understand is that League of Legends is the biggest esport in the entire world. They're going to catch up eventually, from a business development standpoint. So I'm excited. And, yeah, there was some dissatisfaction from the previous year, but I think a lot of doubts were put to rest.
Okay. And we should pause really quickly just to mention that the chat, apparently you guys just revealed the jerseys just now, and so everybody on chat
Let me go hit a hot retweet.
freaking
Do they like
out
them?
about the tweet. Yes, people say they look really good.
Chat, do you like the jerseys? Tell me.
Yeah, there we go. Amazing, good. We love them. We love it. Long sleeve is perfect. Somebody put a fire emoji. Okay, you're good.
Sweet.
You've passed the chat test. Once you're good on the retweet, let me know, and we will.
I retweeted. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Good.
I can multitask.
No, it's great. So I'm kind of curious as well. Okay, so we talked about the league side. How do you feel about the other organizations right now? Because the league is much more, once we switch to kind of this, pseudo franchise model, you're in there not just with Riot, but also with these other 9 organizations. One of them notably is Optic, which a lot of people have been concerned about their continued commitment. There was some upheaval at the end of the year. So I'm kind of curious what you think of the other organizations and maybe even on the
Travis,
Optic
I
side.
like you. These questions are great. I don't know. For me, I think the teams did the majority of the teams actually did a really good job putting together rosters that can compete this year. I think 2018 was sort of an exploratory year for certain teams that came into the league, and now they understand that they want to compete at the highest level. They want to have a team, playing in the playoffs. And so it's like, I think Golden Guardians did like a great job with their roster. I wasn't sure what they were going to come to the table with. And again, take everything for what I say with a grain of salt, because I don't know League as well as I would like to. But I think Golden Guardians did a great job. Clutch Gaming did a phenomenal job putting together a team that can compete. I guess that's my biggest question moving into 2019 is what were the teams going to do to make sure that they're doing everything they can to bring as much to the table for the LCS, and I think a lot of them did that. Optic Gaming is a very interesting question. They picked up Crown, I think his name was.
Yeah.
That came out of left field. They have Meteos and Dardoch.
Yeah.
Dardoch on the academy team. Meteos starting jungler. And so it's like really some ambitious signings, which I think a lot of people were talking about, which was really, really cool. I actually thought that Optic Gaming was going to roll over. Like I thought they were. I don't want to say too much. I know too much. I'm going to shut up. You almost caught me. You're just smiling.
I said nothing, and you just started talking, so you can't blame me for that.
Look. I think the team's doing a good job. I love all the other owners. I have great relationships with them. I think the owners are doing a great job.
You mentioned the rosters. I'm very curious, though, what you think about the organization side, because I look at 100 Thieves and see quite obviously a pretty strong investment, right, on the content side, on the merch side, on all these other areas, and even areas with like the content creator house that you guys are building. It feels like that's the type of thing that can like even further help the brand on the league side. So do you look at any of the other organizations and do you feel satisfied with all of them in terms of what they're doing? Because it doesn't feel like all the organizations are sharing the same level of investment into the space as you are.
No. For me, all I can worry about is what our team is doing, and all the credit in the world goes to like all the staff at our organization, because it's like I have like an idea from time to time, but for the most part, like all the execution comes down to like Jon Robinson and Jackson Dahl and Eric Sanders and Julia Wu, and I can literally name off every individual that works at our company, and they work tirelessly day in and day out to make sure that we are bringing as much to the table as we possibly can and building out a lot of different verticals underneath our business. It's like for us, if we didn't have an esports team, I think 100 Thieves would actually be like a really successful business. If we didn't have apparel, we would still be a very successful business. So like making sure that we're investing in all of our eggs are not in one basket, but also executing on those businesses that we're trying to build out, I think it's been the one thing that we've done really, 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 really well.
Yeah.
So I'm not as much concerned. I don't think too much about other teams, truthfully. I think, again, the guys behind me, they do a really good job of making sure that we are in the know, we understand the moves that they're making, and we have great communication with other organizations. But for me specifically, it's like there's things that I know really well and there's things that I don't know really well. And so like the brand and what 100 Thieves should be investing in, that's like what I focus on, and not so much looking at what the other teams are doing and comparing myself to others. So
yeah. Kind of switching back towards the end of this interview, back just to the league team side. What do you think the team can accomplish this year, and what are the goals for the team on the league front?
I said this in the heist, and I'll say it for you again. We want to win a world championship. Plain and simple. Look, I know as soon as I say that, memes are going to start up, North America, whatever. But if you're not like setting goals that are really ambitious, then what are we here competing for? Like, this is a competition. And so we want to win Spring Split. We want to go to MSI. We want to win that. We want to win everything. If you're not trying to win, then why are you competing?
Yeah.
And that's just my mindset. And I believe in our players. I believe in our coaches. I believe in our program. Obviously, it's all going to play out. regardless of what happens or what the results are, I'm still really proud of the team that we put together in the offseason, all the coaches and the staff and the players, and we want to win. And there's no other ifs, ands, buts about it. Like, even if it's like, we got to climb to Mount Everest, and that is what this climb to winning world championships would be. Well, let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Like, full send. If we're not getting after it, then what are we really doing? Like, why are we competing? Win.
Can the 2019 roster win world championships?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I like the enthusiasm.
We have talent. We have veteran leaders. We have great coaches. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, one last question on the roster front. We talked a lot about the LCS side. On the academy side, you guys picked up a former colleague of mine, my friend Kelsey Moser.
Yeah.
What was involved in bringing her to the team?
Kelsey, I can't take any credit for that. Again, I don't know the space as well as I would like to, but I had one conversation with Kelsey before we signed, I think. And from everything that I knew, she was one of the greatest talents in League of Legends and just esports in general that truly believes in younger players and amateur players and forming the mold that is going to help them excel at the highest level later down the road in their careers. She worked with H2K and really made a name for herself with her ability to scout talent and find, some of like the hidden gems and the players that might not necessarily have the biggest platform to stand on and show how talented they are. And she does a great job of recognizing that. And, we did a lot of collaboration with her in the offseason and sort of her opinions and thoughts about the players and the other coaches that we were looking at to help us. And so she has been like an incredible and valuable asset for 100 Thieves. And she is already just like working her tail off to make sure that this academy team is the best in the business. She's incredibly knowledgeable. I can't wait to get to know her better, but from everything I know, she is like one of a kind in the space.
Yeah. Well, I'll finish, and maybe we'll have time for one or two questions from chat, but I'll finish with a question I'm sure you didn't expect to get here. I know he doesn't like to be in front of the camera, but I feel like just me talking about him enough will eventually force him out.
Oh, I like this.
Your business partner, Jon Robinson,
Yes, sir.
He has a new look this year
Jon
that I saw during the
Robinson.
offseason. There's I had looked at his Twitter picture, and he was doing photo shoots, I think, with Logan, which is a little different from what I would have expected from when I first met Jon. So I don't know if you've corrupted him and changed him into this person or what's going on there. But.
Jon Robinson, Michael Jordan, he got a bald head now. It is an incredible look. I did not know he was going to do that. One day he just dropped it on holiday. He was in Hawaii and he decided he was going to cut it off. And we had like a 9 a.m. meeting when he first got back. It was like kind of like our one-on-one to give each other our 2018 feedback for each other. And I said, I'm not coming. I'm too intimidated. No, Jon literally only wants pictures for his LinkedIn.
Okay.
Like, he doesn't care about social media. I mean, he watches like Instagram stories and he'll send us like posts and stuff. But Jon likes to read books and cook with his wife, who's incredible, by the way, way cooler than him. Her name's Jenna. She's awesome. But Jon literally only cares about LinkedIn. Like, he just wanted to update his profile picture, I would imagine. Every time we have like a really big announcement, like the Red Bull partnership or announcing our investment with Drake, this guy is like foaming at the mouth to make a post on LinkedIn. And he's such a nerd. He's like, dude, we're going viral. I'm like, oh yeah, what about our 10,000 tweets on Twitter? He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
He just loves LinkedIn. So all those pictures, that's probably where they're going.
I mean, he has a Twitter.
He does have a
Ron
Twitter.
Robinson.
Yeah,
I
Ron
found
Robinson.
him there, yeah.
Dude, one of the smartest guys in the biz. He's got a big heart. He's really understands like how to build a business. All the things that don't have experience with, he does, and we complement each other really well. And he's doing a phenomenal job of growing and building 100 Thieves.
I just think it's really funny because the impression that I've had of him is that he seems to be like, if you're like the guy out there with the gaming background and all that stuff, he seems to come across as more like the quiet corporate guy. And then I noticed these pictures that Logan took of him of like in like downtown LA and like the Arts District or something like that with like the sunset shining off his newly shaved head, and I'm like, what have you done to him?
Well, Jon's got style.
Okay.
That's one thing people don't know. Jon, he's got style, and I think the world needs to know it. He's got like his entire wardrobe of button-ups. He's got his denim jackets. He's got his pins. He's got his Janoskis. Great selection of denim for his jeans in his closet. Jon's got style, and I think he wants to share it with the world. I think he sees what like when I post or we post to the players, maybe he's got like a thought in the back of his head, like, yeah, maybe I do want to be out there a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is very like clean cut corporate. doesn't like to be in front of the camera, but I think he needs to be more. I think the way that he helps me run 100 Thieves, is like a great. It could be a great learning experience for a lot of people that are interested in working in esports in the future. And there's a lot of things that, I mean, this guy's a stud, dude. He's really, really smart, and I want to get him in front of the camera more to talk about the business, because I think people would be genuinely interested in it.
Well, I've requested interviews with him before and been told Nadeshot's the guy to talk to. So
dude, this is like the one thing that I'm pretty good at. Like, I can just talk and talk and talk, and this is where I drive value for 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
Like, listen, man, I'm not making PowerPoints in the background here for meetings, and it's like it's just not. I'm here to talk. So. Yeah. That's why we always push interviews to me. But maybe we can finagle or swing an interview with Jon. Yeah. I am his boss, so I can tell him to do it.
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So can you commit to that right now on broadcast?
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but I like your ambitious thought process.
I think we've got time for one or two quick questions from chat if anybody wants to throw any of them down there. People are asking for builds for Sejuani. I don't know if you can give us any of those, but Okay, any plans featuring Drake in the future?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely plans to collaborate more. Yeah. I think where Drake can help us the most would probably be from like an apparel and brand outlook standpoint. He's done an incredible job with, his Scorpion tour and OVO and all of the branding in his albums that he's done in the past. I mean, he is like a true creative. And so I think that's where we want to tap into the most. And I definitely think there would be more collaboration in the future. So I think everyone just needs to be patient.
Okay, so this one says, will the jersey numbers be customizable for players and fans?
No, jersey numbers are going to stay 19. It's a 2019 jersey.
Okay.
Logistically, customizing those numbers would be a nightmare for us, because like we're not just like mass producing these. Like, we're doing like genuine orders from a factory where these are all custom made. So the numbers would just be a nightmare. Can't do it.
Hey, thanks so much, Nadeshot, for coming in. Is there anything that you want to say to? I think this is your camera.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say to anybody out there?
I am going to be hosting an Ask Me Anything on the 100 Thieves subreddit here in the next couple days. Just keep an eye out on our social platforms for the actual time and date. One of my favorite platforms for discussion is Reddit, and ours is slowly but surely growing, and I would love to have you guys there talking all things 100 Thieves. I literally check the 100 Thieves subreddit probably 10 times a day. So if you guys want to be more involved with the team, please go to that subreddit. We have an apparel drop coming in like the next month or two that I think people are really, really going to love. LCS team is starting up. All of our players are streaming every single day. Aframu, Huhi, and Someday, and Bang have been doing a phenomenal job. The content house has come in. Our Call of Duty team is competing right now for a spot in the Pro League for the 2019 season, so go show them some love. But we're just excited for 2019. We got a lot of things coming. I appreciate Travis having me on, and I'm really excited to start this new journey in this new year with the entire esports community. So thanks for all the support in 2018. Let's go 100 Thieves 2019. Let's gang. Let's get it.
Gang.
You just got to start saying drip. You got to start saying dadas.
Gang. Let's get it.
Gang.
That's how we'll end this interview. Thank you so much, Nadeshot, for coming into the studio. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports on my YouTube channel. Hey, thanks so much for watching that interview. Hope you enjoyed it. Really big thanks to U.GG for being able to throw this on the Caffeine channel. For everyone else, I just want to give a big shout out to Alienware for supporting all the content that I'm doing this year. There's a ton of stuff hitting the channel right now in preseason. We've got even more coming during LCS. I don't know if this outro is going to be shown before my award show on Sunday on my channel, which the Sunday before LCS starts. I think that's the 20th, right? Yeah, 20th. Check that out. If not, check it out on the channel because the VOD will be going up here. There's so much happening. Thanks so much for watching my content, and be sure to subscribe.